Well, after the Republicans brought forth the SAVE Act.
What?
That would allow only U.S. citizens to vote in federal elections.
Okay!
Dementia Joe said if it reaches his desk, he's going to block it.
Now you're an asshole.
And it was only a matter of time before the plantation Democrats opened their mouths and chirped off, "Fuck! It's racist and xenophobic." I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this, it's not accidental nor incompetence.
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
It's malevolence.
Brilliant!
And it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Thursday. Well, I did a video that's going to be, actually I did it yesterday, but it's going to be airing later this morning in regards to Dementia Joe and, of course, the Republicans regarding the voting in 24. Republicans put forth the SAVE Act. And simply put, it would allow only U.S. citizens to vote in federal elections. It's called the Constitution. We already have this. But no. We have to create something that's already been created. Because that's what the Republicans do. And Democrats. But anyway. So, he said if it goes for the desk, he said, well, excuse me, if it reaches his desk, Joe said he's going to block it. So, with that being said, it was only a matter of time before, as I said in my intro, plantation Democrats were going to open their mouths and call it racist and call it xenophobic, because God forbid anyone has voter ID to actually prove who they are, because we do it with houses, cars, prescription drugs, car loans, getting another credit card, things like that. But it's not about facts, it's about your feelings. And here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. Democrats slam popular voter ID bill as racist and xenophobic, because, again, that's what they do. Voter ID rules are just like Civil War racist exclusion laws, according to Democrats. Again, they're creating new shit as every day goes by, who denounced and voted against the GOP's SAVE Act bill on the House floor. Quote, "This is the 24 version of the Jim Crow poll tax." Of course, it is. "And we should vote against it," claimed Representative Jennifer McClellan, Democrat out of Virginia, as she walked off her plantation and said, "Massa, can I have a say?" I'm sure somebody will chirp off and say, "How dare you just say that? That is racist." Well, calling it how I see it. Which requires people to prove their citizenship before casting a vote for Democrats or Republicans. In the 1800s until the 1960s, many people were denied the vote when they did not pay the flat poll tax on individuals living in the jurisdiction. But McClellan is determined to disinter the bones of historical racism for Democratic advantage in 24 by saying, quote, "The bill is essentially a poll tax. Because I'm not aware of a single proof of citizenship document that does not cost individual money to get it, unless we are required every state to provide one for free, it's an unfunded mandate." Yeah, I've got some facts on that, but I'll wait till later. In McClellan's state of Virginia, individuals pay a trivial sum $4 per year for driver's licenses, $2 per year for simple ID cards. In contrast, political campaigns spend $14 billion to sway away 154 million voters in the 2020 election, or roughly $90 per voter. But yet, let's bitch about $4. Okay. Democrats.
This bill is essentially a poll tax because I am not aware of a single proof of citizenship document that does not cost an individual money to get it, unless we are requiring every state to provide one for free, and then it's an unfunded mandate. This is the 2024 version of the Jim Crow poll tax.
Yeah, stupidity and ignorance at its finest. President Joe Dementia's staff has promised to veto the bill if it passes the House and the Senate. GOP leaders are pushing the bill in the run-up of the election after failing to attach the bill to a must-pass spending measures in the spring. Voter ID bills are extremely popular among the citizens. The existence of many illegals in the U.S. helped Democrats build an emergency reserve of ballots via fraudulent registrations. Fraudulent? Fraudulent? What? Those illegal ballots can be later smuggled into ballot boxes via mail-in voting and drop-off boxes. And even illegal migrants who are personally cast votes in low-security jurisdictions, said William Geen, founder of ALAPAC, Movement for Tighter Border Security. Breitbart News. What will happen is that people, Democratic operatives, will be dispatched throughout the unions, non-government organizations, Democratic Party auxiliaries, private contracting firms, and probably even smuggling gangs themselves. They are all going to be given marching orders and lists of directives on how to go about this. Gee, again, it's, let's do the time warp back to 2020 all over again, but that's just me. I think they're going to try to deliver many of them through the mail. They realize that sending the illegals directly into the polls on election day is more likely to get them caught or be observed by pesky Republican poll watchers. So mail is the safest way for them to do this. Since 21, Biden's deputies have imported at least 7 million migrants. Let's correct that, 11 million in 3.5 years, many of whom are now sheltered, fed, and protected federally funded nonprofit groups in cities where Democratic politicians control registration and voting rules. Yes, they're called sanctuary cities. And also control the police force that can choose not to enforce voting laws. They're going to go sit the migrants down and say, Joe Biden says it's okay. Barack Obama says it's okay. And if you don't want to get deported, you need to do this, Geen said. The Democrats also use their political allies in the smuggling gangs to deliver the message. If you know what's good for you, you're going to do it. A Biden veto the SAVE Act would be a national admission that Democrats are counting on illegal voters to vote this year. Adding, I know a lot about this tragedy because back in the 1990s, I was the highest ranking college Democrat in the state of North Carolina, and it used to be my job. I was an early pioneer of the motor voter registration. Yeah, how's that worked out? I registered over 3,000 voters, so I know a lot of different ways that it can be handled. So Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to preserve this stockpile of illegal votes. Republicans want to throw up barriers because people want to vote. They lose, claimed Representative Summer Lee, adding, they don't want to hear black voices, brown voices, alphabet voices, young voices, or fundamental access to our democracy is being politicized. And the xenophobic attack that we're debating today, it makes it harder for Americans to vote. Republicans proclaim that requiring the IDs is the small to ask, but nearly 30 million people lack valid driver's license. But you can still get state ID. You can still get state ID, you morons. About 15 to 18 million adults don't have access to documents proving their birth or citizenship. And whose fault is that? Let's hear from Summer Lee.
Hypotheticals. It is under attack right now, right here with this very bill. Republicans want to throw up barriers because when people vote, they lose. Let me be clear. They don't want you to vote. They don't want to hear black voices, brown voices, LGBTQIA voices, young voices. Our fundamental access to our democracy is being politicized.
Says the politicians who are politicizing this. It's a fucking clown show. Requiring migrants to prove their citizenship is discriminatory, claimed Delia Ramirez, a Democrat. Again, Ramirez. I wonder what nationality she is. Anyway, who is a U.S.-born daughter of illegal immigrants from Guatemala. There it is.
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.
My thoughts. Let me say this. As someone who is Hispanic himself, my parents came from Puerto Rico. Utuado, Puerto Rico, to be exact. And so they came to this country not by crossing borders illegally, but on a Pan Am flight to Ohio. And thus had my brother, my 4 sisters, and me. So there you go, if you didn't know. But the fact of the matter is that when you have over 60 plus million illegals since Reagan signed off on that hideous amnesty bill back in November of 86, this is what you get. So you've had Biden with the most porous borders in the history of this country, allowing 11 plus million illegals to cross the borders. No, we don't want them to vote. In my last video, they mentioned, it's rare. It's rare that illegal votes because we can stop them. Really? 2020, anyone? Just saying. Midterms? 22, anyone? Just saying. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, this is what they do. Everything's racist, everything's xenophobic, everything's sexist, everything's homophobic, this, that, and the other. And if you're against that, you're Hitler, you're Satan. Voter ID laws work. It works in Ohio. It's been working in Ohio for years. It's you can get your ID. Even if you don't have a driver's license, you can still get a state ID. So it costs you a measly $2 to get one in Virginia. But yet they spend how many hundreds of millions of dollars, to sway voters, to push them from one edge to the other? How many? Yeah, they don't talk about that. No. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. They don't talk about that. The fact of the matter is that voter ID laws in certain states, in many states, work. They work. They make it very clear. I have no problem showing my ID. None. Absolutely none. Now, the state I live in, which I won't say, but just say it's a Democratic state. It's a red state. I'm sorry. It's a blue state. Doesn't require it. But I show it anyway. Why? Because that's just what I do. But this is the stupidity that we have. This is the ignorance. This is the moronism. This is the assholery that you have in the Democratic Party, or the Democratic plantation, shall I say, because that's how they vote. You've had black and brown citizens who have voted the same way for decades. For decades. And for decades since, let's go back to LBJ, Clinton have voted the same way. Even though they see the wrong, they vote the same way anyway, because that's the programming. That is the Jim Jones of voting. I'm going to tell you something enough and make you drink the Kool-Aid, and you're going to vote this way. And that's not being racist. That's being realistic. That's how the vote is. You look at any election, you see the minority vote versus the white vote. Even those in my own community vote the same way. Because as long as there is a D, wow, did I say the D? I apologize. As long as there is a D or an R next to their names, click. Do you know about them? Do you know about her? No, absolutely not. But look, there's a D. This is what we get. This is stupidity that we get. That this moron did this. Why? Because he wants illegals to vote. It's not a hard concept. It is what it is. They are so desperate to lose to Donald Trump that they will go to the nth lengths to make sure that Joe Dementia or whoever is a stand-in wins this November. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Bargonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.